Good morning, watch nerds, ladies and gentlemen, and those still making up their minds. Now, strangely enough, the last watch I reviewed was also a San Martin, and I described it as ridiculously good. And whilst this one may not be quite as well spec'd, it's still pretty damn incredible for the money. It's loosely based on the Longines heritage that was made many years ago for the Royal British Air Force, but far from a direct homage. In fact, the dial is a different colour and the hands are totally different. In actual fact, San Martin do make a watch that is more similar to the original one with the speckled dial. It is, of course, though, unashamedly a vintage style watch, and as I'm quite vintage myself, I couldn't help but be attracted. Now, I post on a few watch forums, and there are two types of watch enthusiasts: those who love San Martin and appreciate them for what they are, and those who just hate them, don't really know why. I accept that some people don't like direct homage watches. I'm not a great lover myself, unless the watch in question is no longer made by the original manufacturer. But San Martin also have their own designs, as well as watches that mildly take inspiration from something else. Like this one, I suppose. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the San Martin Vintage Pilot Watch SN0108. I wasn't sure if the watch would arrive in the newest variant of the San Martin packaging or the one before that. Guess what? It actually came in the original one. However, I'm not unduly bothered, and it does the job, I suppose. But I'm just a little bit surprised because it's one of the newer models. Now, inside is the 2-year warranty card and a spare strap. I'll come to that later. And this is my watch of the day. It's the Yema Flygraph. The dimensions are as follows, and they're my measurements. The case is 38.3mm, the depth is 12.6mm, which includes a box sapphire crystal with AR coating, and the lug to lug is 48mm. On this strap it weighs about 71 grams. The lug width is 19mm, which isn't the end of the world but does limit your choice of straps. In my opinion, the watch about wears to size. Inside is the good old NH35 movement, which does mean the watch will have a ghost position because there isn't a date facility. Now, that isn't something that bothers me in the least, but I know there are people that it irritates. It ticks away at 21,600 beats per hour, is very reliable, hacks and winds, and if regulated correctly, it can be surprisingly accurate. In fact, the San Martin I reviewed the other day with the same movement is running like a quartz. The best thing is, if in the unlikely event it ever does go wrong, it's only going to cost you about £30. I can tell you that in real life this one's running at about plus 6 seconds a day. But let's see what the time grapher thinks of it. And here we are, the rate's excellent. The amplitude's okay, but the watch isn't fully wound. But the beat error's high, it should be 0.5 or lower. So I think I'm going to have the back off and correct it. And there we are. How much better is that? For those of you who don't know, a poor beat error puts unnecessary wear on a balance wheel and also means the positional variance suffers. Anyway, the large 7mm sign push-pull crown is very well knurled and operates the movement beautifully. In general, NH movements hand wind very nicely, and adjusting the time is silky smooth. This one's no different. Although it's a push-pull crown, the water resistance rating is still 100 metres, so if you wanted to put it on an ATO or rubber strap and go swimming, you could. I suspect very much though that few people actually will. Now before we get onto the watch case and the dial, let's have a look at this strap. It's a very nice quality vintage style leather strap with some beige stitching. I bet there are some fancy strap suppliers charging as much for a similar quality strap as I paid for this watch, and I'll get to that soon. Now the hardware is branded, and that's also a very nice quality. For easy strap changes, San Martin have even included quick release spring bars. Honestly, this strap really is very good. As a bonus, they've also included this two-piece nylon strap, which isn't the best I've ever seen, but it's free, so I'm not complaining. The 316L case is a combination of fine polishing and satin brushing. As usual with all San Martin watches, the finishing is ridiculously good. Basically, the double layered bezel and the tops of the lugs are polished, while the sides are satin brushed. Now they've even included drilled lugs for easy strap changes. Now a 48mm lug to lug watch could be considered a little bit long for a 38mm case. But this is shaped really nicely and I believe it fits my 17cm wrist pretty well. The case back is sterile, which appears to be the norm for San Martin these days, and it screws down to help the already mentioned water resistance. The dial has a real vintage feel with its yellowy gold colour. There is a second and minute track pushed just below the edge, then the simple raised indices beneath that. The watch is designed to be read easily at a glance, hence the simplicity. The only text is the San Martin script at the top, which is the logo I really wish they'd kept with from the start. The hands are blue, but to be honest I don't know if they're heat treated or just sprayed. Anyway, I like them, they look nice. The loom is black, which I've never had on a watch. To be honest, it's probably better than nothing, but at the same time it's not particularly bright or long lasting. In all honesty, any loom on this type of watch is possibly a bonus. Now let's have a look at it. And now the price. Now, like all watches that come out of China, you really don't know what the full price is. Anyway, nobody actually gets to pay that. According to the San Martin site, the full price is £256, which in American money is $311. But like I said, I doubt anybody gets to pay that. At the point of making this review, San Martin have a flash sale, and they're selling them off for £115 to include carriage. But there may be additional PayPal costs, etc. At that sort of money, this is absolutely crazy value. I bought my almost new one for a very good price from another watch enthusiast who often sells his watches on eBay. So thanks, Bad Robot, otherwise known as Dave. So in summary, what do I think? Well, the strap is very good. It's got a sapphire crystal, a lovely vintage dial, a Japanese automatic movement, and the case finish is extraordinary. Okay, I could be really picky and say a screw down crown would be nice, and yes, some decoration on the back would be appreciated, but neither of those things are particularly important. What is annoying though is that 19mm lug width. Now whether or not you like the design of this watch is totally down to you, but to deny its great value for money, well, that's just naive. I just wonder how much a high street branded watch with this specification would set you back. So would I recommend it? Of course I would. In my last video I did say I was revaluating watches, and this watch has helped me confirm what I was thinking. If you want to buy a watch that's got a brand name linked to history and heritage, this won't suit you. If you want to buy a watch with a specific brand name that's got a following amongst other enthusiasts, it may not suit you either. If you just want a well-made watch with a decent spec that doesn't cost a fortune, you may want to consider this San Martin. So will I be keeping this? Who knows? I'm a watch nerd with a history of flipping. So that brings me to the end of this review. So if you've enjoyed it, click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below and please enjoy the rest of your day.